Cool, cool, cool. Now, for our beer and movie pairing today, I was going to break on one of my old pairings that I had previously done for my old site, Cinnamon. I was going to flesh out the one I did on the Forehand Send Help, which is a hoppy blonde ale. That beer is a collaboration with Send Help Skateboards, so I paired it with the 1989 movie Gleaming the Cube. If you're not familiar with that little gym, and I'm guessing you're not, it features 80s bad boy Christian Slater as a skater punk who ends up exposing a Vietnamese gun smuggling ring. In Orange County, of course. It's not a great movie, but it is a fun 80s movie featuring stunts by a then unknown Tony Hawk. The problem with that pairing is, I don't know how much longer Forehand Send Help is going to be around. It's not their most popular seasonal offering. I don't think they made it at all last summer, and I'm afraid it's going to get the boot before too long. I don't want to recommend a beer that's not going to be available, so I decided to just do a new pairing. But I will say, if you can find some Forehand Send Help, it does pair really well with Gleaming the Cube. So what are we doing for our pairing today? Well, I want to do something in the same vein as Gleaming the Cube, so I was thinking about doing a different skateboarding movie. But then at some point I decided that a surfing movie would be better. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. But then, what's a good surfing movie? The Endless Summer is the quintessential surfing movie, so I'm told. I've never seen it, because I don't really give a shit about surfing. I live in Missouri. It's about as landlocked as you can get. I was going to do a bad surfer dude impression here, but I honestly can't be fucking bothered. I do not care about surfing. Period. End of sentence. But you know what I do like? Nay, love. Action movies from the 80s and 90s. And there just so happens to exist an amazingly dumb action movie out there that features some primo surfer bro nonsense. I'm talking, of course, about the 1991 Catherine Bigelow action crime thriller, I guess, Point Break. That description doesn't even begin to describe the goofball insanity that is this movie. But that's what it is, ostensibly. But it's oh so much more than that. This movie is fucking ridiculous, and that is high praise, don't be mistaken. I love this movie as much as Johnny Utah loves Bodie. Okay, maybe not that much, but a lot. Now, my dilemma is, what beer is awesome enough to pair with such a rad movie? Even harder, what blonde ale could possibly match up with such a gnarly movie? Because Point Break has it all. Surfing, bank robbing, an undercover FBI agent, hardcore bromance, skydiving, mysticism, a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers that somehow isn't Flea, wicked action sequences, Eastern philosophy spouted by a blonde white guy, and most importantly, not a shred of internal logic whatsoever. Well, unfortunately, I don't know of any blonde ales that can compare to such an outlandish movie. But I do know that one of them fits in with the movie about surfing. It's the Big Wave Golden Ale that I mentioned earlier from Kona Brewing. Hopped with Galaxy and Citra hops, this light-bodied beer is bright and thirst-quenching, with a golden hue and a refreshing finish. It's not the beer equivalent of firing your gun into the air while screaming, but its island origins and laid-back surfer vibe make it a good enough pairing beer for Point Break. And really, you don't want any beer that's going to be too distracting when you're watching Patrick Swayze, throwing a pit bull at Keanu Reeves during a chase sequence. That's a blink and you miss it bit in a movie full of crazy ass bits. Trust me, you'll want to give this movie your full attention. So a nice, easy drinking blonde ale is actually a pretty solid beer for this pairing. It won't distract you from any of the bonkers action unfolding before your increasingly confused eyes. Like, why does Johnny Utah, an undercover FBI agent, keep introducing himself to people using his real name? For that matter, why is Johnny Utah allowed to go undercover at all when he's a former college football star? Bodie recognizes him, which is unlikely, sure, but you can't send someone with a recognizable face undercover. That's some James Bond shit. How is James Bond a secret agent if literally everyone knows who he is? It doesn't make any sense. But do you know what's great about movies like Point Break? They don't have to make sense. They don't have to be realistic, because they're fun and exciting. And they have badass action sequences that make you forget all about the shit that doesn't add up. When you're about to question the logic of something, all of a sudden Gary Busey is ordering not one, but 2 meatball subs. Or Keanu Reeves is jumping out of an airplane without a parachute, and you couldn't care less about logic, because that shit is fucking awesome. Oh yeah, guys, Gary Busey is in this movie too. Because of course Gary Busey is in this movie. It's also directed by Kathryn Bigelow. I don't even know if I've mentioned that yet. She's made some stellar action movies over the years. She won an Academy Award for Best Director for The Hurt Locker. She's the first and so far only woman to win an Oscar for directing. She also directed Zero Dark 30, about the hunt for Bin Laden. Blue Steel, which I remember liking as a kid, but haven't seen in 20 years. Strange Days, which is another movie I really liked when it came out, but haven't seen in years. That one probably holds up. It's got a great cast, and it's one of the few movies out there where Ralph Fiennes gets to play a good guy. Well, a good enough guy. He's no saint, but he's no Eamon Goth either. Kathryn Bigelow also directed one of the most underrated vampire movies from the 80s, Near Dark. That movie rules too. It's dark and bloody and creepy, and it's just everything you want in a vampire movie. So, when you're done watching Point Break, you should check out some of Kathryn Bigelow's other movies, because she's got a very solid filmography. So, if I haven't convinced you to watch Point Break yet, then there's nothing else I can say that's going to get you there. This movie either sounds great or terrible, depending on your taste. And whichever one you choose is kind of right. There's no wrong answer there. It is awesome and awful and terribly stupid, but in a genius kind of way. And that's why I love it so. I also love hearing from you, my friends, on social media. If you want to get in touch with me, you can do so on Facebook or Twitter at Beer Blockbuster. You can also email the show at beerblockbuster@gmail.com. You can rate and review and subscribe to the show on your podcasting app of choice. I would greatly appreciate that. Positive reviews helps with the show's visibility, or so I'm told. And that's it, really. I don't have anything else to say about Blondales. I still have plenty to say about Point Break, but it can wait. I don't want to spoil all the fun of it, for those of you that haven't seen it yet. I never watched the 2015 remake, because it didn't have Keanu Reeves or Patrick Swayze in it, so why bother? Who thought it was a good idea to remake Point Break in the first place? Like, if you want to make another movie about extreme sports guys robbing banks, just do that. Don't call it Point Break. Call it something else. You're just opening your movie up to negative comparisons by remaking a movie with such a cult following. Or hey, here's a novel idea. Make a new movie. Think of an original conceit and make a movie that isn't already a movie, or a book, or a TV show, or a comic book, or a fucking board game, or whatever else they're turning into bad $200 million movies these days. Fuck you, Emoji Movie, I hate you, and I've never even seen you. Why do you exist? Anyway, that's a good place to end this episode. I'm gonna get really worked up soon if I continue down this path. So, good night, nerds. I'll talk to you again soon, and I'll get worked up about some other dumb thing that doesn't matter next time on Beer Barrels and Blockbusters. See you later.